Welcome, everybody, to Nature Healing. Tonight's theme is on bears. Um, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But first, let's do our 8 verses field setting, courtesy of Dr. Pong. And this is a cute sun bear looking at us um, on the screen. So find a comfortable position, feet on the earth, feet connected to the earth, and spine straight, and head connecting to the sky, to Huanyan Qi. Taking a breath, closing your eyes if you wish. Head expands into the sky, feet into the earth. Body is relaxed. Mind expands out. Be respectful, quiet inside. The mind is clear. The appearance is humble. The mind is still. The mind expands out to the vast void. Illuminate deep inside. The whole body is harmonized with qi. The whole body is harmonized with qi. So bears. And just before I start, if my voice starts cutting out like it did last time, please let me know. I have a new internet connection, but just in case it's not strong, maybe just come off mute and let me know. All right, hopefully we'll get through this. So, yes, I was camping last week and had a really exciting bear encounter. I've been meeting up with bears, camping and backpacking for decades. They don't live really where I live, but camping near where I live, they're ubiquitous. And but I've never had them get my food before. And so last week, oh, that isn't supposed to be up. There we go. I was trying to split the screen. There we go. Last week, when I was camping, there we go. It was dark, pitch black, and my daughter and I went to the bathroom and came back to the campsite, and I must have forgotten to close the bear box. And there was, I mean, it was pitch black, and we didn't know where our flashlight was. And there was a mom and her 2 babies, little black bears, um, in our cooler. And they were very cute. The babies saw us, they climbed a tree. We got to get help from our campsite neighbors because we didn't know where our flashlights were. And when there's a mom and babies together, you definitely don't want to mess with the bears. And so our neighbor friends helped us out, sort out everything. We kind of just threw everything in the bear box and shut it and left it there for the rest of the evening. And it was kind of a shaking experience, right? I mean, to have bears rifling through your things and eating your things. But we didn't see them for the rest of the evening, and that was that. And I was really, really concerned about opening that bear box the next morning because I thought it was going to be a big mess. And so I didn't open it until my daughter and I both got up so I could have some emotional support. And I was like, oh, I don't want to see what's in there. It's going to be this big old mess. And when we opened it up, it was actually, I mean, there was dirt everywhere, paw prints, etc., but it was so neat. Like the bears had targeted exactly what they wanted and took it completely. And then that was it. I had an opened container, carton of milk that hadn't been disturbed. I just assumed it was going to be spilled all over the place. So um, it got my attention. They got my attention, and I wanted to learn more about bears, so I thought that we would focus on them today. So there are 8 bear species worldwide. Um, and they're all different sizes, all different behaviors. There's the brown bear, American black bear. Those are the ones that live near me. Polar bear, the Asiatic bear, the sloth bear, spectacled bear, and the giant panda. They're found on every continent except Antarctica, Africa, and Australia. And they have a huge size range. The sun bear is only 55 pounds, and the polar bear is 1,500 pounds. They're all omnivores, but they all mostly eat non-meat kind of, except for there's a big range there too. The giant pandas, they're pretty much herbivores completely, and the polar bears they're pretty much carnivores, being out there on the ice. And I thought this was really interesting that their closest living relatives are actually the seals, sea lions, and walruses. So they're actually most closely related to sea animals. Here's a cute grizzly bear. Um, So bears have some superpowers. They can run really, really fast. I wasn't super excited to see this after my nighttime bear encounter, but again, they were very, very gentle, not aggressive at all. And they possess one of the best senses of smell of any animal, so 7 times better than a bloodhound. That's why they targeted exactly what they wanted in my cooler, right? It wasn't just a crazy, like, eating everything. They knew they wanted the chicken salad, my homemade muffins, the sliced cheese, and the marshmallows. So that's what they were interested in. And nothing else, not the milk. They're excellent swimmers and climbers. Again, I got to see those little babies climbing up and down the trees. Anytime they got scared, whoop, they went. In fact, the hardest thing about our encounter was trying to reunite mama with babies because she ran off and the babies went up the tree and we were trying to, go get down so that you can go be with your mom. But whenever they got scared, up the tree. And they're really, really smart, right? They'd probably been watching us all week. We'd been camping for 4 days, had no bear sightings. They probably knew our every move. So they're able to solve complex problems. They have a really good long-term memory. And some species can enter torpor, which is sort of like hibernation for up to half of the year. And they do that without eating, drinking, or eliminating waste. So mama bears have about 1 to 3 cubs per litter. And the cubs start out very small, about hamster sized, and then they get very, very large, of course. The cubs stay with their moms for about a year and a half to 3 years. So those babies I saw probably were first year babies. So they have a long ways to go before they're ready to be on their own. And they're generally solitary, except during mating season and for moms and their babies. Otherwise, you'll pretty much just see them alone. So bears do this amazing thing called torpor. It's not really a hibernation. It's a lighter state of sleep where they can be woken up. But their heart rate drops, and they don't eat or drink or urinate or poop for, again, half of the year in some places. And the female bears, if they're pregnant, actually give birth while they're hibernating. They lose a lot of their body weight, 15 to 30%. And it's sort of this mystery, this medical mystery as to how they can burn that fat and be sedentary for that long while still preserving all of their muscle mass. So when they get out of this sleep state, they're ready to go. They don't have to work out to get their muscles back. So many ancient cultures revered bears as powerful spiritual beings. Norse mythology featured the berserkers were the warriors who channeled bear spirits in battle. And many native North American tribes also consider bears sacred, representing strength and healing and wisdom. There's a lot of bear goddesses, especially in Europe. And in Russian folklore, there are numerous bear characters, some of them helpful and some of them fearful. And this is just an ancient picture in a cave in France of a bear. So one of the many synchronicities I discovered well, in knowing that bears wanted to come through today is that this Sunday, September 21st, the autumnal equinox, was once originally the festival of Ursel, who is the Germanic bear goddess. And so she was celebrated at this autumnal equinox. She is the goddess of the moon, the mother of the stars, the teacher of fearlessness, and of martial arts, which they actually considered it was very similar to Asian martial arts. So it was sort of warrior and energy work type stuff that this Ursel was the teacher of. So, teacher of Qigong, basically. The festival later was adopted as St. Ursula's feast day. So, this Sunday, I believe in Catholic Church, is St. Ursula's Day. And Ursel's sacred constellation, Mistress Ursula is Ursa Major, so the Big Dipper, the big bear. And so there's a picture of Ursa Major next to the baby bear, Ursa Minor. And the autumnal equinox represents the balance point when bears prepare their sacred winter journey into the dream realm, where they again reside half of the year. So, right now, in much of the world, the bears are preparing for their torpor, which is probably also why they were being very bold at the campsite and getting my food. Howla. And oh, I just wanted to say, I love how these two constellations are related to Polaris, the North Star. Um, it really just, again, speaks to this energy of guiding. So the North Star is the only star in the sky that stays in the same place all the time. So that's why it's used as a navigation point. So the North Star, it appears that everything in the sky rotates around the North Star. So I love that the bears are sort of the keepers of this guidance point. And of course, since they sleep for half the year, right? A lot of bears sleep from equinox to equinox, 6 months out of the year. Um, they're often known as keepers of dream time and the walker between and among the worlds in shamanic traditions. I found it fascinating how the cave symbolizes the pineal gland. So if you close your eyes, um, and so bears, imagine bears being, they're on the west side, which is also associated with the right side. So if you kind of just bring your consciousness from your right into the center of your head, into Shenji Palace, which is near the pineal gland, that movement is the bear going into her den, right? So every time we enter into Mingjue state, another way that ancient traditions have described that is the bear going into the den, into the cave, into the great void, which is described as the place where all the questions reside and all the answers. So it's our Mingjue entirety state into the cave. So yes, bear hibernation represents this spiritual practice of going within to find sacred dimensions. Um, and also many cultures believe that bears could resurrect themselves. So it appears that they died each winter, went into the cave, and were reborn each spring with babies. Okay, so here are Swan's birthday photos. Swan, do you want to talk about this at all? I'd love to hear your story.
There's a long sequence of story, and one of these was a video showing the movement, and I
I
had
have that
to,
ne I have that next.
oh, okay.
I hope it
Well,
works.
there was a prequel to this meeting, and my birthday is the 20th of February, and this was in 2023, and it was 55 degrees that day. This bear should have been in hibernation, but it was so warm. I mean, it was like a spring day. But before this, in the December before, I um, went down to my laundry. I don't lock my doors, and a lot of people criticize me for that. But I live alone, and nobody can see my house. I can't see other people's houses. My neighbor is like a quarter of a mile down the driveway from me, so he's really nearby. I can't see his house. He can't see mine. But um, anyhow, that December, I went down to my laundry room, and as I was walking down, I can't see the room itself, but I could see my door, this door, and it was ajar. And I said, I didn't leave that door open. I wasn't down here, and it was closed last night. I do check the doors at night, make sure everything's closed up. And then I got down to the room, which has my washing machines and these cupboards that are like a pantry. It's a pantry where I store things that I'm going to eat. And everything was strewn. And I had had a sugar pumpkin sitting on the top of the dryer that I was going to make a pumpkin pie with that week. And it was one I, had gotten in the fall, and it was still in great condition. But anyhow, that was gone. And there was stuff strewn all over, and the cupboards had been raided. And I went out into the yard, and this, I thought it was a raccoon, because the handles on my doors, and this speaks to something you had in your presentation, they're very clever. And I thought it was a raccoon, because I thought it can't be a bear, because number one, they can get their paws around these little tiny handles. I just thought there's no way they could have done that. They could have taken the pumpkin easily. So I kind of dismissed it, and but now I know for sure he was back. It was this guy had gotten in to my pantry, ate about $80 worth of food, and the pumpkin, he he left the part I would have used, the inner part, and he had eaten all the outer part. And seeds and stuff were strewn all over the place. So this was a return, and I found out later through my research and calling the um, the wildlife department in Connecticut, that once they get food someplace, they will come back at least 5 times. Again, if they don't get food in those 5 times, they most likely will not come back. So this was, maybe he went back into hibernation. It was cold maybe in January, and then he's back. And the thing was, I had a friend with her dog who was coming for my birthday, and 2 other friends who were going to do some work on my house, and they had left the trunk of their car open with their lunchbox in it. Because all their tools were in there, and they were gonna do something with the floor in my kitchen, which they'd put in. So anyhow, my friend took Heidi took her dog out the front door to go walk it and walk her and pee and all of that. And the dog went berserk. And I heard this, and the dog like lunged, and it was all she could do to keep the dog from going after this bear was coming down the driveway, was coming up the driveway towards the house. And so when she said, bear, bear, I went down and I locked the door in the bottom. She got the dog in, we locked that door. And he came around within seconds of my locking this door. He was at that door. So he was there for food. So I joke he was there for birthday cake. And just to talk about his earrings, he had a lovely pair of um, orange earrings, tags. And because he came back again, so he came back another time and was to my front door, but I was locking doors at this point. I got some sense drilled into me that I need to lock doors because of the bears, not because of people. But I told them there are two tags, and I knew what the number. I could see the number in these pictures. I could actually see the number, and I said, what do I do about this? And she said, I said, is this bear dangerous? Because it's got tags in both ears and everything. Has it caused a lot of havoc? Because he was very lethargic. He was not aggressive. I have handles on these doors that they're not knobs. He could have pressed that down if it wasn't locked and been in there in a second. And he could have pushed through it's just glass. He could have pushed through if he wanted to. Um, and the dog was in the room as well, in that room barking. And he was just like, I want some more of that food that was in your cupboard. I mean, he was lethargic and just wanting to get in and get some more food because he had been successful a couple of months earlier. So that's the story. He went away. He raided my composter, and then he laid down on the back lawn and sunned himself for about a half hour. He had his belly full of compost and he just lay there in the sun, enjoying his day. So, yeah.
Thank you, Swan. Here, I have the video. Let me see if I don't, oh, there, it's playing. Yay.
And there is sound. I think you can click on something and you'll hear the commotion.
It may not.
No,
Anyway,
it's not going to
yeah.
play.
Well, you can see it.
It's just the dog barking, us saying,
Okay. He's very
hey, go
curious.
away. Don't come in. We don't want you.
Okay. American black bear.
Yeah. Yeah. And he was a juvenile, according to the people that I talked to about the tags.
Yeah, he looks like it.
He's probably not with the mom anymore, but on his own, maybe his first or second year on his own, something like that. He's a
Yeah.
good size.
Hungry
What
after.
gorgeous. His coat was so beautiful. I mean, he was really beautiful to look at that close range.
Oh, and his big paws. Let me in. Oh, there he's trying, but not
And
very
he's
hard.
trying to open it with his mouth. He mouth
Oh.
on trying to, and then my friend had had this um, one of these measuring,
Hmm.
knocking on the window, and that did make him go away for a little bit. He said,
You have
maybe
quite
I'm not welcome here. I guess I'll go down.
you have
Graveyard."
you have quite the wildlife experiences in your house, Swan. So Howla, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Here's just a couple more pictures of some bears that I just didn't know about. So this is a sloth bear, baby on top.
Mm.
And I guess we can't see the Asian black bear. How And there's the spectacled bear. So these guys live in like the Colombian Andes, sort of. And I'd never seen those before. Let's see if the other one comes up. No. Oh well. Hello. So that is my presentation, you all. Had a lot of bears. So happy they came through. I would love to hear if anyone has any other bear associations, or I don't know if anything struck you from the presentation. Um, yeah, the floor is yours. Hi, Angie. Go ahead.
I had a couple of bear interactions. Um, One was when I was in my 20s, we'd gone with my mom camping up to Combermere, Ontario. So, and we had this cooler that stood up like a refrigerator. And that was in the campground, and they had gone to a ranger thing, and I was sitting there playing the guitar, and this bear came through the site. So I got up and I banged the pans together like I had heard of, and the bear kept wandering through the site. Well, that night we went to bed and we heard all this noise right outside. And my mom and the neighbor woman in the campground, my mom said, let me go check. She got out of her sleeping bag, got out of the tent, and then all of a sudden she came running back in, zipped the tent shut, jumped in her sleeping bag, zipped her sleeping bag shut, and said, yep, it's a bear. And in the morning, the bear had rolled the cooler over and over and over till I got it open, had eaten the butter and the bacon and a couple of other things, that the cheese that we'd gotten from Combermere, um, and something else, and just left a mess. Well, it turned out there were two guys camping across, and they had had fish, and they had cleaned their fish and dumped the leftovers in a trash bin about two sites away, which is why the bear came probably. Um, but it was quite exciting to have been that close to a bear. And then later, when Bobby and I were hiking in the UP, we're at a campground that had a live bear trap because they said there were so many bears and they were trying to relocate some of the bears. So I went up to see what this looked like. It's like, wow, what is that? It was like a great big barrel and with a little door on it. I'm standing there looking at it and I hear this and turn to look, and there was a little bear maybe 10 feet from me. And I ran. And Bobby said she has never seen me run as fast as I did. And luckily, it was a juvenile bear and it ran as fast as it could in the other direction. But so bears have always been dear to my heart.
Hola. Thank you, Angie.
Yeah, thank
Very
you.
startling to see something so big.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so impressive. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
I've got a couple bear stories. Uh, we used to live in this place that overlooked the Upper Bear watershed, and there was this huge male bear that people always talked about, and I hadn't seen it. And there was a guy that lived down below us who had dogs. And one afternoon, up through off the road, up onto our property, toward the drop off toward down live below, came the big bear. And we don't have a picture of it. I don't know why. But anyway, I got on the phone and called Don and I said, here he comes, take the dogs in. And sure enough, the bear went down the slope into his yard and snooped around and then left. That's the only time we saw it. And another place we lived, we had a fire in our house due to a contractor's, not doing something right. And we were in a rental. And the bedroom was up on the second floor above the garages. And the people's trash cans were down below. And I don't know, it was in the morning. Was it late at night? Yeah, late at night or wee hours of the morning. I hear this chomp, 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 chomp. And I go out on this little deck and look down, and there's this bear in the garbage eating, I guess, leftover cabbage or something. And I yelled at it, and up the tree went the two young ones. And then, it spent, I don't know how long. The mother was talking, she had her paws up on the tree, talking to the little ones, trying to talk them down. And they finally came down and left. And that's enough story. But they're pretty amazing animals. And we're having a garage sale one day, and there was a draw across the street, and we looked over, and there was a bear running up the draw, and he hadn't bought anything. So, I don't know. They're in Colorado. They're all over the place.
Thank you, Gary. Hella. Yeah, there's something, I mean, they're so social, they're so curious. If I did a presentation on mountain lions, who here would have a story, right? Like probably none of us. Okay, Elizabeth, okay, we're doing mountain lions now. All right, awesome, awesome. But bears, it's like we all have a bear story. And I love how a lot of them end with, I've never seen them run so fast. My family has one of those too about my mom. Yeah, it's funny. They're very social. They're in our stuff. So thank you. Any other bear stories that want to be shared or intentions that want to go ahead, Elizabeth? Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up in Alaska. I have a lot of bear stories, but I'm not going to share all of them, of course, because it would be odd. Okay, but one of my favorites is one of my friends who's grown. He's my age now, but when he was really little, his mom loved to tell this story about him. He was about 3 years old, and they went camping. And he was with his mom, and he says to her, and she doesn't know what he's looking at. He says, "Mommy, there's a man in a bear suit out there." Of course, it was a real bear, 'cause this is camping in Alaska. So, but it's one of my favorites. And he grew up to see a lot of bears, and he knew they were all real bears. But yeah, one of my favorites.
That's the best.
There's a man in
Oh, I love that because they do. I mean, these photos I was finding online, they look human, like with their big paws, and the paws almost look like plastic bear costume paws, right? I mean, they anyway, I totally understand why he made that mistake. So
When we went camping, we lived there for about a year, and we went camping with our little nephew, and we saw a grizzly there, and I'd seen black bears and stuff in Minnesota, whatever. Grizzlies are absolutely terrifying. These things are so big. I was just like, I just like froze. I didn't even know what to do. I was like, oh, it's just so enormous. Luckily, it wasn't really interesting as it was on the other side of the riverbank or whatever. But there's these guys who were getting on into their boat because they were pulled up on shore there, fishing or whatever. They're like, "Come on, get in the boat, get in the boat, get in the boat." There's like
They
people
ran,
piling in
yeah.
and then pushing off the shore and trying to get further downstream
It
away
was a
from the
mom
bears.
with two babies.
Yeah.
It was,
I
yeah.
could not believe how large it was. I was just like, "Oh my, what the heck am I looking at right now?"
Yeah, those
Oh.
people, that was some fast running because they were on the shore and their boat was in the middle of the river with them in it as quick as possible. Yeah, it was, yeah. Bears. We saw a
especially,
bear this summer too. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we also had some bear energy. So thank you for bringing it. I didn't know all of the symbolism either. So it's really interesting. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I didn't either. I was flabbergasted to find out that, we hadn't planned an equinox nature healing this year, though we have a beautiful recording from last year that I'll send out. But we did actually, because it's about bears. Yeah. they're kind of our equinox symbol. So, hala, thank you both. Wow. So bears, of course, they are associated with great deep healing, being the mistresses of the great void, and protectors and fierce, right? Fierce warriors. So if there's anything that needs to be put in the field, um, that could especially use that energy or anything at all. Go ahead, Karen. Yeah.
Well, last week, we live in Evergreen, Colorado, and last week there was an incident at the high school, and I would like to put the survivors, the victims, in the field along with all of the children that go to the school, their parents, their families, all the first responders, the whole community, actually. I would like to put them all on the field.
Thank you, Karen. We'll put the high school in Evergreen, the community in the field with the Great Bear Mother. And may healing be found in this dark, dark time. Thank you. Any other intentions? Yeah, Angie.
I want to put my granddaughter Caitlin, who goes for colonoscopy on Tuesday or on Thursday. She's 22 years old, and it's a pretty frightening thing to have people looking into the dark voids inside of her at this age. So
Howla, Caitlin in the field for her procedure next week. Bringing in bear energy for that exploration and healing. Thank you.
There I am. Whoops. Whoops. There I am. I completely lost it for 15 minutes. We lost all our signal, but I did get to come back. And I
Yay.
would like to put everyone in the path of our local fire. It's moving a bit again today, and may they all be safe.
May they all be safe.
Mm.
Bringing in that fierceness, that bear warrior fierceness spirit for handling difficult situations, needing to act fast. May everyone be safe, and may the fire cool. Allah, thank you, Robin.
I would like to bring in the bear's fierceness, especially the mama bear, and how powerful she is and how she tends to elicit the most fear uh, and awe. I want to bring that in with lineage healing. I know most of us have lineages that could use a little bit of TLC. I don't know, I want to bring all of that into this beautiful, powerful, and you had fearsome in your presentation. That strong energy of bears. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We're holding our lineages. We're holding the healed parts of our lineages, and that they may help tend the not so healed parts of our lineages. And we definitely will bring in the Great Bear Mother, who I learned is also the keeper of what's called the Dream Lodge. And in the Dream Lodge, this is our council of elders, our council of healed and well ancestors. And so feeling that support in our Mingjue entirety field, just really specifically calling in that part of our field, those healed and wise ancestors. And knowing Bear is our guide, our ally in this work. Really, this work that starts deeply for all of us with the autumnal equinox and carries through the dark part of the year, the dreaming part of the year. Allah. Well, with all of that, we're already halfway in our Mingjue healing session. But I'll invite you to find an even more comfortable position. Come back deeper into your Mingjue entirety state, that deep place in the cave, our deep cave of the Shenji Palace. And just bringing in that deep protective energy that we've been sitting with today with Bear. That protective energy that gets our attention, that can startle us, that can even scare us. But that protective energy is an ally. It's a powerful part of who we are. It's a powerful part of the gifts that we brought with us as humans on Earth. So I'll invite you to relax and soften into the embrace of the Great Bear Mother. Relax into that deep entirety field. Allow the great void to become vast as the universe. Allowing it to become empty and open and clear. Shoo. Shoo. Allowing the Mingjue entirety to flow through our neck inner space. Our neck inner space is empty and open. Shoo. Feeling the vastness of this dark emptiness. Allowing Mingjue to flow down the shoulders and arms and hands. Shoo. Shoo. Empty, open. allowing the emptiness to creep in, that vast darkness to fill. And moving to the heart and the lungs, the breasts. Shoo. Shoo. Allowing the greatness of our vast hearts to expand, 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 expand. Empty, empty. To fill all the land, all the space. That vast heart energy field. Allowing Mingjue to merge with the solar plexus, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, spleen, stomach, intestines, kidneys. Shoo. 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 Allowing our organ systems to enter the cave, the great void, empty and open. Allowing Mingjue to flood the pelvis, the hips, reproductive organs. Shoo. Shoo. Empty and open. Shoo. Allowing Mingjue to flow down our spine, upper spine, middle spine, lower spine, the entire nervous system. Shoo. 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 Open and clear. Her Mingjue flows down the legs, thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. Shoo. Shoo. Legs are empty and open. We feel the vastness of the great void in our bodies, expanding out through our chi bodies. We become one with the universe. Shoo. We become one with the entire Mingjue collective, all the healed ancestors, our teachers, the sages, the council of guides that is always with us. We become one with each other. Shoo. We cede this great void. We are Mingjue love. We are Mingjue peace. We are Mingjue happiness. We are Mingjue gratitude. Throwing in all of these deep intentions from our time together today into this dark cauldron of healing and transformation. Throwing in all of the intentions, spoken and unspoken. Bringing forth, we are Mingjue love. Filling our intentions with Mingjue love. We are Mingjue peace. Filling our intentions with Mingjue peace. We are Mingjue happiness. Filling those intentions with unconditional happiness. We are Mingjue gratitude. Filling those intentions with all of our gratitude. The gratitude for our family and our connections and everything that it is to be human. All of it. All of it. We are Mingjue gratitude. And we'll sit here for a few moments in this potent field, allowing it to permeate every aspect of our being and every aspect of existence. And we'll begin gently coming out of our brief torpor, our brief hibernation in the cave. Of course, if you wish to stay here for longer, please do. But for those of you who are ready to emerge renewed, rejuvenated, and reborn, I'll invite you to move a little, maybe just your toes, maybe the shoulders, maybe the spine. Breathing, breathing into lower dantian. Maybe swaying a bit. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes. Thank you to everyone who came today. Thank you to the bears. Really, thanks to all the nature that shows up and inspires us so much that we have these weekly meetings. Just so grateful. Hala, I hope you all have a beautiful evening. We'll be meeting again next week for something exciting, I'm sure.
Allah.
Hala.
Thank you, Megan.
Allah. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Trudy. All right. Until next time. Have a beautiful rest tonight. Sweet dreams.
Oh, Megan, I
Yeah.
had a question. Do you know how long you expect that master class on the dream world